hello, if somebody was to create something of an A to Z or A to Z for you American viewers of Amberlynn Reid, then I think the A would have to stand for accountability. When it comes to accountability, Amberlynn Reid is all talk and no trousers, and not just when she's mopping.
I have to mop with my pants off.
Our queen is so quirky, right? Amber has famously, regularly claimed to take accountability for something, but then in the next breath, she will turn around and blame somebody or something else. I'm going to get into all of this, but I wanted to start with this tiny little example. It's one of my favourite examples of Amberlynn Reid failing to take accountability. I'm talking here about when Amber let out her cat Rarity. I'm going to play you a clip from this video, which was filmed after Amber accidentally let her cat out. And if you're listening to this video whilst doing the dishes or something and you're not watching it, I just did massive air quotes around the word accidentally, because I'm very suspicious as to whether she genuinely let Rarity out by accident or if it was on purpose. We can really only speculate on that. In this video, Amber says this:
"My cat Rarity is missing, and I have done nothing but cry. It happened 2 nights ago, and I put full blame on myself."
But immediately after saying this, Amber then goes on to deflect blame from herself by saying that she's been going through a lot, and she even seems to almost blame Rarity for going missing.
There's a yard, and that's where I let the dogs out to go to the bathroom, and it's through like a glass door, and I've just had a lot on my mind with everything that's been going on. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I've just been going through a lot, and I wasn't thinking, and I left the glass door open just like, I don't know, like this much. And I'm telling you, when I noticed, it was like 20 minutes later, but it literally just takes a second. And Rarity is like one of the most adventurous cats, the most loving.
I'm going to get into what accountability is and such in this video, but I wanted to start with a really clear-cut example for you guys to be thinking about as we go through this. Amber will say that she takes accountability, but then she will immediately deflect. After this Rarity stuff, Amber then posted this video here called The Truth, where she says this.
And it just breaks my heart that, like, she explored too hard and now I can't find her, and I feel like I'm failing, but I'm doing everything I can.
In this clip, we hear Amber say that Rarity explored too hard. This pissed off a lot of people because Rarity didn't explore too hard, Amber left the back door open, which is not the same thing. A week or so later, Amber made this video called I've Gained Weight, where she says this.
So there's questions, people are like, why aren't you taking accountability for Rarity missing? And I just think that's a silly question, because I literally am. I've said multiple times, I blame myself, I'm mad at myself. Why did I leave the door open? Like, I'm so stupid for leaving the door open. Like, I'm very angry with myself and I take full accountability. I do believe that you can take accountability, but also provide reasons for why something happened. And when I say that I've had a lot on my mind and I didn't close the door because of that, I genuinely mean it.
We hear Amber say this sentence: you can take accountability, but still provide reasons for why something happened. And this is kind of a perfect example, in my opinion, of what the problem is that Amber has when it comes to accountability. Saying that you can take accountability while still explaining the reason that something happened is kind of bullshit. The whole point of accountability is that you admit that you are the reason that the thing happened. So Amber saying here, sure, it was me who left the back door open, but I did it because I was going through a lot mentally, reads, at least to me, as her attempting to deflect blame from herself and blame her mental state, which is something that really she's not to be held accountable for. She does it indirectly. She says, I didn't close the door because of that. But no, she didn't close the door because she fucked up. There's no one else and nothing else to blame for that. In my opinion, taking genuine accountability for something is knowing the reasons why something happened or why you did something, but still saying, yes, that was me, I fucked up. When I think of accountability, I think of messing up and then being willing to let other people tell me that I messed up, and then sort of like publicly, or at least in front of the person I hurt, admitting my screw up in some way, right? That's what I think of it as. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the word accountability is a situation in which someone is responsible for things that happened and can give a satisfactory reason for them. So giving reasons for what you've done is part of accountability, but the reasons that you give aren't supposed to clear your name, and I think that that's how Amber uses these reasons. For example, in the case of Rarity, her mental health, the fact that her cat is adventurous. She tries to use these things to explain why the door was left open or why Rarity got out, basically trying to make out that it wasn't her fault. During my hunt, I found this like fancy corporate website that had this definition of what accountability was, and there's a really interesting line in it. Accountability also implies a willingness to be judged on performance. And I think that that is totally true, right? Being able to take true accountability means that you can think about what you've done can. You can explain yourself, but where possible and where necessary, you can admit your failure. Somebody might hold you accountable, right? Somebody might come up to you and say, hey, I'm trying to hold you accountable for this. Can you explain to me why XYZ happened? In society, it's absolutely imperative that people can be held accountable for the stuff they do. It happens in a court of law. It happens all over the place, right? Even in intimate relationships or personal relationships, you might offend somebody or hurt somebody or do something stupid, and you need to be able to listen when the person says, hey, you did this, I'm trying to hold you accountable, and you should be able to admit, oh fuck yeah, I messed up, I did that thing, I shouldn't have done it, and apologise. Those things are really important and integral to our society working, I think. I had a look into Amber's willingness to take accountability over her time on YouTube, and I found a few really interesting points. The first one relates to her weight. Now, of course, it's pretty obvious that Amber's been on a weight journey since she started YouTube. That's why she started her channel. Amber's been on quite a trip when it comes to being held accountable in her weight loss. She has this video here called I'm Back and I'm Scared from 5 years ago, where she explains to her viewers that she doesn't need our help. She isn't interested in accountability. She has it all figured out on her own. Watch this.
I don't want to have to be like, okay, every Wednesday I have to be down a certain amount of weight, because if I'm not, then I'm going to get tons of backlash on YouTube, and then it's going to put me in a negative headspace, and then I'm going to want to overeat. And like this whole, it's like a vicious, like, just, it's gross. It's really gross. And I know a lot of people, which you're probably thinking right now, I know you are, a lot of people are like, well, it's a good way to be accountable. The thing is, I'm accountable within myself, and that's what's been working this time. I don't want to film my journey for accountable reasons. I don't want to be showing what I eat for accountable reasons. I don't want to show my weight for accountable reasons. I want to show my journey to share it. Accountability, I don't need it. I have my own accountability.
I thought this was interesting because Amber is claiming here, and remember this was 5 years ago, that she's got it covered on her own and she doesn't need her audience to hold her accountable. But if we look at the situation where we are right now, 5 years later in 2025, Amber is still roughly the same weight or bigger. And is it possible that if she had allowed herself to be held accountable or listened to her audience, she might be in a different place now? I think it's very telling and really quite interesting that in this video, Amber is basically saying to her audience, like, shut up, I don't want to hear it, I don't need you to hold me accountable, I can do it by myself, I don't want to hear your thoughts. That's basically what she's saying here.
Accountability, I don't need it.
Both of these kinds of accountability, being accountable to yourself and being held accountable by others, requires something which I think Amber has never been able to do, and that is being vulnerable. Vulnerability is absolutely key to accountability. If you're not willing to put yourself in a position where you almost put yourself on the back foot and admit, oh yeah, I fucked up, right? I did something wrong. When you admit that, it's the opposite of being defensive. It causes you to be vulnerable rather than having up a million defenses where you try and explain why what you did wasn't wrong. You take all that away and you sit there and say, yeah, you know what? I'm vulnerable in this moment. I messed up. I'm weak. Please forgive me. And of course, one of the key things in vulnerability is honesty, and that is something that we all know that Amber struggles with. But I also observe that a key problem with Amber is that she can't even be honest with herself. Amber's been lying to herself her entire YouTube career. If we look at accountability from the point of view of Amber's recent content, for example, when it comes to her allegedly broken scale, basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, I think that Amber's been lying about her weigh-ins because her scale was broken, but she didn't tell anyone. During this situation, Amber says something on camera which I think is so telling. She says this:
within the 10 weigh-ins that I did do during those last 10 weeks, in total I was down like 7 pounds. But then simultaneously, I'm over here like, I feel like my breathing isn't as good anymore. I feel super swollen every day. I feel more like it's hard for me to do daily activities. And it was making my anxiety so bad. So that's why I was like, what is going on with my health? Because over here, my scale is saying that I'm not gaining weight, but simultaneously, my body genuinely feels like it is. So when I went to the doctor, they did weigh me. It was completely different than what was on my scale here at home. That happens. I didn't think anything of it at the time. It was kind of shocking to see. I didn't mention this in my video because I think I was like lying to myself. I was telling myself that their scale's broken, but mine's not. But then 4 days ago, I stepped on the scale and it said I weighed 350. And that was when I like flashed back and I was like, wait a minute, is my scale broke? I was like, something's off. Amberlynn, it's time to just like genuinely be honest with yourself.
So here we see an example of Amber explaining to us how she managed to lie to herself and how she managed to make herself believe that it was the doctor's scale that was broken instead of her own. When she discusses how she felt seeing her weight on the doctor's scale, she says she thought nothing of it, but then there's a cut and then she says it was really shocking to see.
I didn't think anything of it at the time. It was kind of shocking to see.
These two statements are pretty contradictory, right? So which one is it? So we can kind of imagine here how she can tell herself something in her head and almost convince herself or lie to herself in her own psyche. I mean, we all do this. I think it's a normal human thing, but it's very interesting to see it happen in front of us with Amber. It's hard to be sure, but I think it sounds like Amber is living in some kind of reality which she creates for herself in her head. And notice in the clip I just showed where she says she's lying to herself, she says this right after. I don't know why I didn't mention this in my video. I think I was lying to myself. The truth is, she was lying to us, her audience, and herself. I mean, lying to her audience is nothing new, but this concept of lying to herself, I mean, we can see it's been happening for years. I just find it really interesting. It's clear to me that Amber is living in a reality of her own creation, and I think that this is why she seems completely unable to hold herself accountable, but also be held accountable by others, because as I've shown already, a key part of being accountable is being honest, and I think Amber just falls at that hurdle. Amber makes lying, both to herself and to her audience, look like an Olympic sport. Something which I did find incredibly fascinating is that at the start of her YouTube career, literally in her first ever YouTube video, which is this one here called Nervous and Awkward Weight Loss Vlog, I was surprised to see this has 207,000 views. People must have gone back and watched it loads. This was filmed 11 years ago. Amber says this.
I think making these YouTube videos, it might make me accountable. I just think it would really help me. I watch so many people who make videos and they're so inspirational, and maybe I can be an inspiration for somebody. I don't know.
So she starts out her journey on YouTube claiming that she does want to be held accountable and that she actually thinks YouTube might help her, but give it 5 years and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars later, suddenly she doesn't need us to hold her accountable anymore. Interesting, right? About 9-ish years ago, she seemed to still want to be held accountable by her audience. In 2016, she posted this video called Veganism Cures Cancer, where she states that she really wants to lose weight and she's planning to weigh herself every day.
I think on April 1st, I am going to weigh myself, and I'm going to weigh myself every single day of April. I honestly don't know if I'm going to like record my weight via YouTube, but I just need to figure out something that's going to keep me accountable, because I need to jumpstart my weight loss and I need it to happen, because I really miss being at my lowest weight of 331. Like, I felt amazing, and now I'm like almost 470.
In this clip, we hear Amber saying and admitting that she knows that potentially showing her weigh-ins on YouTube would help to hold her accountable. So once again, she shows that maybe she does want her audience invested in her weight loss and able to hold her accountable. The problem with this is that Amber wants her audience to be invested in her journey, to know about her and care about her and watch a channel entirely about her own life. Amber regularly says, this channel is about me, it's about my life, it's my job to film my life.
This channel is about my life. It's not a weight loss channel, but it's about my life. This channel is about my life. I don't know. My job is to film my life.
And she knows that the audience watch it because they care about her and the content they're watching is only about her. But the problem is that Amber wants it both ways. She wants an invested audience who care about her life and watch content about only her, but who also believe her every word and don't hold her accountable. But the problem is that you can't have it both ways, right? You can't have your cake and eat it. Dustin Daly, who's somebody that I don't usually watch, made this video the other day, and in that video there are some points that aren't accurate, but he did say this which I really agreed with.
I don't like to pick on people for fun, but when you monetize your entire existence and then act shocked when people have opinions, that's not fat phobia, babe. That's accountability.
I think Dustin is right about this one point. Amber has asked us to care and then been mad at us when we do care. What Amber seems to not really realise is that with sharing comes accountability. You can't have one without the other, because when you share your life and your thoughts and your motivations with people, then they're going to care and they're going to hold you accountable to what you said in the past. People are going to ask you questions about where your actions don't align with your words, which is exactly what holding somebody accountable is, by the way. So Amber can hardly be surprised when her audience do this. When she invited us into her life, she asked us to care about her life by making these videos. And the thing is, Amber knows that her audience are invested. She's known this from the beginning.
I just can't believe, like, how many people, like, care about me. I've gotten so many people who genuinely are just like, are you okay? Like, I care about you.
Look at this clip from a really early video of Amber's where she's saying that she might show us what she's going to eat this week, but she might not.
I'm thinking about making a video. So don't hold me accountable, please.
This sentence really shows that even from the start of her YouTube career, Amber knew that if she said X, then her audience would expect X. The other kind of curious thing about the clip I just showed you is the attitude that Amber has when she says, don't hold me accountable, please.
Don't hold me accountable, please.
It's in this kind of pissed off voice. It seems like she's already sick of people telling her when she's done something or when she hasn't done something. And the thing is that if she knew she didn't like this back in 2014, she could have changed up her content style then, but she didn't. Part of being a public person and having all of the benefits that that gives you, like having your voice heard, for example, part of that is taking critique. If you want a platform and you want the benefits of that, which is people hearing what you have to say, then when people hear what you have to say, you can hardly be annoyed that they then react and have thoughts to that. If what you say doesn't line up with what you said previously, that makes sense, right? That people would say something about that and notice. And it's this insincerity which I think is the central lie of Amber's content. She wants to appear to be real whilst actually being incredibly fake. She claims that she gets lots of hate, but what she really gets is thousands and thousands of comments of people trying to hold her accountable. Overall, her videos seem like someone being really candid, which they kind of are in terms of the oversharing, but then Amber can't handle the outcome of this oversharing and this candid nature of her channel. It seems like she doesn't know how to be honest or take any accountability at all. And we can see this in the kinds of videos she posts, right? The oversharing, the let's talks, the opening up videos of her crying and sharing her innermost thoughts. She addresses rumours and like stokes the flames of all of the speculation about her. She loves it. It's her brand. The problem is that at the same time as trying to be candid and real and genuine in her videos and oversharing, she's revealed her true character, which is not very nice, it would seem, and so she's lost control of the narrative, which is why this has all gone so badly wrong. I think that lying to herself is the central issue that I nearly just said Amber. I think that lying to herself is the central issue that Amber has in her life, not only in weight loss, but also just across the board. Listen to the second part of the clip that I showed you earlier, which reveals how Amber really feels about input from her audience.
I'm pressuring myself. I am pressuring my own self that I don't need other people's pressure. I don't need other people's accountability. I don't need any of it. I want to show the way-ins, to share my journey, to have it for memories, to show other people that you can do it too. I don't want advice. I don't want accountability. I don't want other people's opinions. Like, I don't care about any of that. I mean, of course, like, comment down below, like, say what you want, but it's not about that. And I know a lot of people do weigh-in Wednesdays for accountability, but it's like, I have that. I have that within myself, and I've never had that before. I have never wanted this so badly to where I was able to finally be like, I'm my own support. I'm my own weight loss buddy. I don't need other people. When you rip away everything and you're like, I need to do this before I die, you don't sit there and you don't wait for the accountability buddy. You don't wait for the weight loss buddy. You don't wait for any of that. You do it. You do it within yourself and you become your own best friend.
It's intriguing to me how Amber could so confidently assert what we just heard 5 years ago, but clearly she was wrong about having it covered on her own, because look where she is now. And I think that this happened because of Amber's fundamental lack of honesty with herself. I looked for more evidence of Amber lying to herself, and I found this clip from a recent vlog, the one where Amber is claiming that she was denied the GLP-1. It's this one here. I was denied the GLP-1, I'm lying to myself, huge kitchen haul, blah blah. In this video, Amber's doing one of her famous oracle readings, and she gets this card here. This is the card. It's called Secrets. I'll leave it on the screen for you for a second so you can just have a little look at it. So here is what Amber says when she gets this card.
But I think this card is definitely just like, Amberlynn, like there's a lot of things that you're not telling YouTube, things that you're not even being honest with yourself. Like, you're not being honest with yourself, and what makes you think you're gonna be able to be honest out loud if you can't do that, like within yourself? It's like my brain constantly wants to tell me, oh, I got this, oh, I got this, oh, I got this, but I'm just lying to myself, and I'm lying to you guys when I say that. I need help, whether that's mentally, emotionally, with a weight loss injection, with a dietitian, with my therapist, with my primary doctor. I need help from literally everyone.
And this is true. She does need help. But the first step towards getting help is admitting that things are bad and that you actually need help. And I think that Amber is very good at saying the right things, like she does in this video. She says, I'm lying to myself, I need help. But it seems like so far she hasn't actually got any help. And I think this is because receiving help requires vulnerability, which is something that Amber really struggles with. And to be honest with you guys, I struggle with it too. The people who know me in real life have said to me before, why do you never accept help? I tend to kind of struggle in silence. I find it really hard to actually say to somebody, look, I'm really struggling, I've got these problems, I need help. It's something I'm working on. But I understand, I relate to Amber, I know how hard it is to admit, like, I'm failing, I don't got this, I need someone to help me. It's really difficult. But the interesting thing is that when Amber started YouTube, she said that she thought sharing her story might help others and help to hold her accountable, but it's become more and more clear that Amber does not want to be held accountable by anyone, least of all herself. This has never been more evident than in the situation which emerged between Amber and her ex-partner Beck, who a few months ago came out and accused Amber of all different kinds of things. You'll all probably know this, but Beck revealed things like financial abuse, accused Amber of effectively stealing their inheritance. They accused Amber of being highly controlling and just overall an awful partner.
The less mobile she became, the more mean and controlling she would be. She became more confident in the way she treated me and in her belief that I would never leave. In the beginning, things were all right, but there were some signs of her being controlling. Then it got worse whenever we moved in together, and then even worse whenever I quit my job and started taking care of her and quote unquote working for her full time. All the things that she said I would be able to do, like see my family more, those things didn't happen. I was just stuck taking care of her. And whenever I talked about trying to get a job again, she would just guilt trip me and say, you know, well, I need you here. I need you to help take care of me and to help me take care of the animals. She would just guilt trip me into not trying to find another job.
You'll probably know all of the ins and outs of that situation. I've made multiple videos about it, like these ones here. If you want to watch them, you can. I'll link them downstairs, but I'm not going to get into the depths and the lore of all of that because you'll probably know it all already and I don't want to waste your time. I can't talk about accountability with relation to Amber without mentioning this situation, mainly because it's one of the big moments where Amber attempted to publicly take accountability but failed miserably. After Amber did this live stream, I made an entire video about what an apology is and why it matters. You can watch it if you like, it's up here. As you may have established by now, Amber, in response to these allegations from Beck, struggled to show any real accountability. Here is what Amber did do. After Beck released this initial video claiming that they wiped Amber and that Amber was in various ways, Amber went live, creating this live stream here called Breaking My Silence. In this live stream, Amber talked a lot about taking accountability, but instead of actually taking any, she blame shifted onto Beck, accused Beck of lying, and did not apologise once for her behaviour. Amber started out by saying the right thing, making it sound like this live was going to be a place for her to apologise and admit her wrongdoing. But we quickly noticed that she had no intention of doing so whatsoever. Here's how she opened the live.
I want to be accountable. So you guys are going to find out tea of things that is real and is true. I also want to talk about things that aren't real and aren't true because I feel like that is just as important. A, B, C, D, F, G can be true and I could take accountability, while LMNOP also I want to clear up. I just think that's fair.
Now, straight away, you can see here that Amber is actually trying to claim that Beck is lying. She never wanted to take accountability once. The only thing that Amber genuinely takes accountability for in this live is admitting that Beck wiped her. We all knew this was true anyway, so it's not that much of a revelation, but even when trying to admit this, Amber fumbles, first claiming that Beck wiped her for a few weeks, and then a few minutes later admitting that it was a few months.
Me not being able to wipe for, it was like honestly a few weeks. Beck wiped wiped me for, I would say, a good 9 months.
Beck then responded to this and said,
After Amber's cancer scare and hysterectomy, I was the one who took care of her while she was healing. And yes, I was the one who wiped her. But I wiped her plenty before that. I believe from sometime in 2019 to June 2021 when we broke up.
So even in this live, where Amber claims that she wants to take accountability, all she does is lie and blame shift onto Beck. In fact, the video which Beck dropped in response to this live stream was called Blame Shifting 101. This is it here, I'll link it downstairs as well. If you watch Amber's entire Breaking My Silence live stream, you can see that the whole thing had absolutely nothing to do with accountability, despite her saying that that's what it was for, and it had everything to do with accusing Beck and showing crappy proof to try and save her own arse. And this is by no means the first time that Amber has done this. She did the very same thing 10 months ago when she was outed for having a relationship with a married person. This person is Erica, by the way. I find all of the Britney-Erica lore kind of boring and very tragic, but it is a really good example of Amber failing to take accountability, so I'll mention it a little bit here. Erica and Britney, I think, made some YouTube videos about this. I haven't watched any of them. I find them both kind of embarrassing and tragic, to be honest, but in response to the videos made by them, Amber goes live in this video here called My Side of the Story, where once again she starts out making it seem like she's going to admit her failings.
So this is where I'm in the wrong. I stayed with Erica when she said that she was in a marriage and that her wife would feel betrayed if she found out. I stayed with her.
So Amber starts off strong here once again, admitting that she did wrong, finding out that Erica was married and then staying with her. But instead of stopping there, saying sorry and taking accountability like she should have, Amber keeps on talking.
And I stayed with her. I'm not going to make excuses. I know I'm a shitty person. I know I'm fucked up. I know I'm all those things. And I take full fucking accountability, 1,000,000,000%. And every day I felt like shit because of it. Every day. But I was like so twisted in my brain. Like, you guys have no idea.
It's funny because we just watched Amber say that she isn't going to make excuses. But once again, just like she did with Beck, she goes on to make a bunch of excuses. How what happened was in fact not her fault. She was actually a victim. Here are some choice clips from this self-defense from Amber disguised as accountability.
You guys have no idea. Like, Erica firmly made me believe that she was in an unhappy marriage, that she wanted to be happy with me, that she wanted to come move in with me. I really loved Erica, and I saw that Erica was very unhappy because it's like, how are you going to fall in love with me if you're like in a happy marriage? My brain was warped, I'm not gonna lie. And now that like I heard that it was all like a manipulation thing, and it's just like, you manipulated me, I fell for it, and you're mad that I fell for it? That's the part where I'm confused. You're exposing me for falling for your bullshit? Okay. That makes sense, I guess, question mark.
Once again, this is just Amber blame shifting, trying to make it seem like it's anybody else's fault but her own, but then that's just Amber. And this is not just a two-time thing. See what I did there? Amber has shown an inherent lack of ability to take any real, genuine accountability throughout her entire YouTube channel. In her recent YouTube schedule, she had a bit called Let's Talk, you would have all seen it, where she exclusively intended to address rumours. Something which could include some accountability from Amber, right? Because some of the rumours are true. Amber even started out this series by saying that she wanted to be accountable.
This is just a place for you guys to get to know me more, maybe in areas that you never would have. A place for me to be accountable, to clarify and deny, and just an overall correspondence between you and me.
But instead, what happened in that series, and I think it was painfully clear that this is what was going to happen from the beginning, Amber just sat around, reveling in the rumours and loving that people were talking about her and blaming other people for her own shitty behaviour. She didn't take any accountability, she didn't admit any of the rumours as being true, apart from maybe one, and it was a stupid tiny one. Seems like nothing changes, huh? Another little tiny nod here, go to Casey. I might make another video about this, so I'm not going to put too much detail here, but basically, Amber did exactly the same thing in the situation with Casey. She came out and made this video accusing her ex-partner Casey of all of this stuff. Casey then came out and said that that wasn't true. Casey was far more credible and showed evidence, but even to this day, Amber still mentions the abusive relationship she was in as a teenager. She will still not stop lying about Casey. She will still not admit that she lied, or at the very least, just stop talking about it. She is desperately clinging to this narrative that she was a victim in this relationship, when in fact she was almost certainly the perpetrator. And we know this is probably true because multiple exes since have come out and said that Amber did the same thing to them. It is this constant lack of accountability and inability to ever admit that anything is ever her fault, whilst she claims over and over again to take accountability, that makes me so heavily critical of Amber and her content. And Amber will say to us over and over again that she's not perfect.
I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect.
And the thing is, she's right. Nobody is perfect. Saying I'm not perfect is a tautology, because we know that. But the thing is, nobody expects Amber to be perfect. Nobody wants perfection from Amber. It's the nature of the human condition to be imperfect. But one of the most important things about being a human is admitting when you fuck up and being willing to change and take accountability. I actually think that Amber's entire brand is predicated on and founded on her refusal, her point blank, bloody-minded refusal to ever take any accountability. She will not admit when she does something wrong. She will admit to lies only when she thinks it's going to make her look better. She is so terrified of ever showing vulnerability, being honest, and admitting when she fucked up. And all the while she stays that way, and her main concern remains her image and how she appears to other people, she will never make any headway. You can't change as a person if you never admit where the flaws are that need changing. And if you never address your flaws, you're determined to stay the same way forever, which I think might be what is going to happen to Amberlynn Reid. Okay, that's the end of video essay Rachel. I am absolutely sweating. It is so hot. I'm going to quickly talk about this. So Amber's gone, right? Where is she? No idea. She's gone. She hasn't done her members only live stream for 2 weeks now. I pay for her members only live stream, so that's, you know, quite shit. I'm thinking of cancelling it. I've got a funny suspicion that she's taking this break on purpose so that she can come back and rebrand and stop the members only live streams. I think she probably wants to do live streams that are for everyone, or at least ones where members only can chat but everybody can watch, because then she'll get way more super chats. But I'm also kind of suspicious. So I was watching some videos recently about Twinkie and how Amber treats Twinkie, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and put my prediction out. I think that Amber is gone, either because of a personal health scare, which would be possible, or because something's happened to Twinkie. I hope that's not the case, but Twinkie is getting old now. She's not walked, she's not taken care of, she isn't fed properly, she doesn't get taken to the vet, at least not as often as she should, I don't think. She's very overweight, and I am very worried about Twinkie, and I have a funny feeling, and I hope I'm wrong, that part of the reason Amber might be gone might be because something bad has happened to Twinkie. I really hope I'm wrong, but that's one of my theories. I'm curious to know, what are you guys' theories? Where's Amber? When will she be back? Anyway, just curious what you guys think about that. I'm going to leave that video there for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye. Also, hi, here's a tiny Easter egg for you. I have done my makeup for you guys. I started filming way earlier today than I normally do, and I had loads of time. My girlfriend left for work at 7 a.m, so I was up at 6:15, so I had so much time, and I've done this pink cut crease. I'm not very good at cut creases. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm okay. You can see, like, they're not very even, but I love doing funky makeup, so I did a pink cut crease for you guys today. I hope you like it. I'm also going to start putting makeup and jewellery, like, links and info in the description, because a few people have asked me, actually quite a lot of people have asked me, like, what lipstick is that, what necklace is that, or whatever, and I find it really annoying when I'm watching something and I'm like, I love your lipstick, what is it, and the person doesn't fucking say. So I'm going to start putting that in the description. But for your information, the lipstick I'm wearing right now is MAC Burnt Spice, like liquid lipstick, with Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk over top. I got the Charlotte Tilbury for free as a sample. Charlotte Tilbury's fucking weird, man. She's so nasty. Like, she keeps coming for all these tiny little brands, and I just think her business plan is weird. Her products are madly overpriced, so not for me. I'm also not really a MAC girly either. My brother bought me the lipstick, but I know that MAC's not that ethical of a company, so where possible I might put, like, dupe possibilities. Anyway, makeup chat is boring, but I know I do have some makeup girlies, so I just thought I would, like, put this bit in for you. Okay, that'll do. I'm gonna go now. Bye.